He spent 27 years behind bars, locked away from his family, from his people, from the world. Most men would come out with anger, with hatred, with a desire for revenge. But Nelson Mandela came out different, stronger, wiser, unbreakable. He did not ask for war. He asked for peace. He did not seek revenge. He chose forgiveness. And in doing so, he changed the future of an entire nation. From prisoner to president, this is the final chapter of Nelson Mandela's incredible story. But to understand how he became that man, we must go back to where it all truly began. After being sentenced to life imprisonment in 1964, Nelson Mandela was sent to the prison island of Robben Island. There he would spend 27 long years behind bars. Life on Robben Island was extremely harsh. Mandela was kept in a small, cold cell with almost no comfort. He slept on a thin mat. He worked long hours breaking stones under the burning sun. Food was limited. Letters from family were rare, and visits were strictly controlled. But prison did not break him. Instead, it made him stronger. Mandela chose discipline over despair, hope over anger, and wisdom over revenge. Inside the prison, he became a leader, not through power, but through respect. He taught other prisoners. He studied law, politics, and history. He encouraged unity among inmates, and slowly Robben Island became known as a university of freedom. Even the prison guards began to respect him, because Mandela never lost his dignity. Outside the prison, something powerful was happening. The world had not forgotten him. People across the globe began to protest. They demanded his release. Students marched in the streets. Governments spoke out. Organizations called for an end to apartheid. Mandela had become a symbol of resistance, a symbol of justice, a symbol of hope. Years passed, but the pressure on the South African government kept growing. By the late 1980s, change was inevitable. The system of apartheid was beginning to collapse. In 1990, after 27 years in prison, Nelson Mandela was finally released. The world watched in awe. As he walked out of prison, he did not raise a weapon. He raised his hand in peace. There was no anger in his eyes, only strength, only vision, only purpose. Instead of calling for revenge, Mandela called for unity. He believed that South Africa could only move forward together, black and white, side by side, working toward one future. He began negotiations with the government. A peaceful transition of power started to take shape, and in 1994, history was made. South Africa held its first democratic elections. For the first time, all citizens could vote. And Nelson Mandela became the first black president of the country. It was a moment that changed the world. But Mandela's mission was not power. It was reconciliation. He worked to heal a divided nation. He promoted forgiveness instead of hatred. He created the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, a place where people could speak the truth and begin to heal from the past. In 1993, Nelson Mandela received the Nobel Peace Prize, a recognition of his courage, his sacrifice, and his vision. But even as president, he remained humble. He served only one term, then stepped down peacefully, showing the world what true leadership looks like. Nelson Mandela passed away in 2013, but his legacy lives on, not in monuments, not in history books, but in people, in every voice that rises against injustice, in every hand that refuses to give up, in every heart that chooses courage over fear. He showed the world that true strength is not in revenge, but in forgiveness, not in power, but in unity, and not in hate, but in hope. Because one man, with a vision, with courage, can change everything, can change a nation, can change the world. This was the story of Nelson Mandela. If this story inspired you, subscribe and join us for more powerful history stories that shaped our world. And don't forget to watch Part 1 and Part 2 to fully understand Nelson Mandela's journey.